how important even just a couple of days working with Jaron Boots Ennis is going to be for Canelo, just to see a bit of the tempo, a bit of that switching of stance, because let's be honest, there's not many guys that Canelo has fought that have fought out of both stances and done it as fluidly as Boots Ennis or as Bud Crawford will do in there.
Bien, bien hecho, bonita pinta otra vez ahí, no te la cambias.
I'm not Crawford. I don't think Boots fight like Crawford at all. That was just I think the comparison they was making initially was just as they both were switch hitters and they both could be so naturally. That's really the only thing that they do the same.
The boxing world is in shock after reports surfaced that Canelo Alvarez has been sparring with Jaron Boots Ennis in preparation for his upcoming bout against Terence Crawford.
Bien, bien, bien. Dando la cintura. Bien, bien hecho. Bonita pinta otra vez ahí. No te la cambias. Ahí. Suavecito y remate. Otra vez. Y remate. Suavecito y remate. Un pasito atrás y volver.
Many view this as a bold statement of intent from Canelo's camp. Former world champion Andre Dirrell emphasized that the move signals Canelo's determination to be in peak form come September, leaving no room for complacency. Jaron Boots Ennis is renowned for his speed, explosiveness, and versatility, traits that closely mirror those of Terence Crawford. Bringing Ennis into camp not only shows respect for Crawford's skill set, but also underscores just how seriously Canelo is taking this challenge.
With Canelo, I do believe this is get back on Crawford for not taking the fight with Boots back in 2024 when Boots called him out. But Crawford was on the bigger and better things, baby. That bigger and better things being Canelo Alvarez, September 13th, 2025. Bigger legacy, bigger name, bigger payday, bigger status. So too little too late, Boots. But I am looking forward to how you advance in your career after this, because this camp is definitely going to level you up, man. You're going to get better because of it in every aspect. Toughness, skill set, smarts. You're going to get a lot from this camp, champ. And I'm looking forward to seeing what you do because of it. You're already a bad man, dog. I want to see where you take it from here. But Crawford, it's over. I believe he walking away in the sunset, especially if he walk away with the victory, which I'm hoping for. But you, champ, you're going to have to settle for something else. Get Canelo that work, man. He going to need it. He going to need it. According to Roy Jones, Canelo got to be on his A game. You got to be on yours too, man. We're looking forward to seeing what you do after this. It's raining on me right now, so I'm going to cut this short, baby. But Boots, get somebody else, champ. Get somebody else. I'm out.
Boxing Orbit shook the combat sports world by tweeting a photo of Canelo Alvarez sparring with Jaron Boots Ennis. The post read, Canelo Alvarez sparring with Jaron Ennis ahead of his bout with Terence Crawford on September 13th, a reveal that immediately sparked intense reactions from fans and analysts around the globe. Trainer Greg Hackett weighed in, calling the decision to bring Ennis into Canelo's camp one of the most talked about moves in the lead-up to the Crawford fight. According to Hackett, the reaction is understandable. Few saw this collaboration coming. At first glance, it might seem like an odd or even amusing pairing, Hackett said, but there's nothing random about it. Canelo is preparing to face Terence Crawford, a fighter known for his ambition, adaptability, and relentless drive. In that context, sparring with Boots Ennis is a calculated move, designed to simulate the speed, energy, and versatility Crawford brings into the ring. Hackett emphasized that Ennis is far more than just another sparring partner. He's one of the brightest young stars in the sport, explosive, fast, and driven to prove himself. By inviting that kind of intensity into his training camp, Canelo is ensuring that he's challenged and pushed every single day in ways that truly matter, What some might dismiss as a camp gimmick, Hackett concluded, is actually part of a well-thought-out strategy. Canelo's team is showing their respect for Crawford by preparing in a way that leaves no room for surprises when fight night arrives.
I don't know, because there's things I know about camp and how they want things to go. So is it going to be that way? Is y'all going to try to alter the camp, or is y'all going to let them go? Or, I mean, is y'all looking to still?
Give me the psychology behind both sides. What does Jaron Ennis get from this? What does Canelo Alvarez get from this?
I mean, Jaron Ennis get from it being in with the elite, a guy who's prepared for everything. One thing you can't say about Canelo is that he hasn't seen something. Canelo's seen southpaws, he's seen tall guys, short guys, slick fighters, he's seen bulls, he's been up against everything. So you get a world of experience with a guy like Canelo. You get a guy who's in full confidence with a guy like Canelo. So with that type of boxing, I would see Canelo really not worried about so much of what Bout's trying to do to him, but really just paying attention to him. But then it's the same, like, I don't know, I can see Bout's kind of like, I think the mindset for Bout's would be not only to prove I can hang, but to also be trying to see what will come with this shit. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, but I don't think I would do that. I don't know. It's just me. I just think the only reason I say that because I think Bout's could get that fight. I think Bout's could end up in a fight with Canelo. And I'm saying that because, you know, the reason I say I wouldn't do it is because I wouldn't spar you and then here go a year later they fighting. Nah,
I mean, doesn't for as much as it does for Canelo, it does for Bout's though, right? If that were to be the case.
Yeah, but there's so many ways it could go. And what I'm saying is, if I was to be where Bout's is right now, if one thing we can all agree on, everybody hate Bout's right now. They mad at Bout's, right?
Jose Benavidez Sr. has downplayed the buzz surrounding Canelo Alvarez's sparring choices, making it clear that his camp isn't buying into the online hype, no matter what people are saying. "We're not getting distracted," he said, emphasizing that the only thing that truly matters is what happens when the bell rings on fight night. Benavidez Sr. believes fans and media often read too much into sparring partnerships, forgetting that they're just tools for preparation, not predictors of performance. Whether Canelo sparred with Boots Ennis or anyone else, it doesn't change the fact that Terence Crawford is a completely different kind of challenge. For Benavidez, real results aren't determined in the gym. They're earned under the lights, in the heat of a real fight. His comments serve as a grounded reminder. While headlines may spark excitement, seasoned camps stay focused on execution, not speculation.
You know, whatever. We're not even like thinking about it anymore. And you were just like, you know, Canelo is slipping and stuff like that. Does it make you kind of rethink Canelo and that Crawford fight to be like, well, he's really taking it serious to bring in a guy like Jaron Ennis?
Well, like I said, you know, I don't really focus on that. You know, we stay in our lane, you know, and try to get better ourselves. And whatever they do, whatever they decide to bring in or whatever, you know, I'm pretty sure they have a plan. But I don't really focus on what other people do. We focus on what we do in order to get better ourselves. Because we do have a lot of things that we need to fix and get better at. So my respects to whatever they do or whatever they're doing, you know, but at the end of the day, you know, I think it's a good thing, but we don't really focus on that, you know, what other people do. You know, like I said, we got to get better at our craft.
Brian Norman has offered a more critical take on Canelo Alvarez's decision to spar with Jaron Boots Ennis, acknowledging Boots' talent while questioning the effectiveness of the matchup as preparation for Terence Crawford. Boots is a phenomenal fighter, Norman admitted, but his style doesn't truly mirror Crawford's. He pointed out that while the two may share some physical traits and both carry power in their shots, the similarities largely end there. According to Norman, Crawford is a cerebral technician, a master of switching stances, setting traps, and adjusting strategies in real time. In contrast, Boots fights with a more aggressive, explosive style that relies heavily on pressure and athleticism, while Norman concedes that sparring with Ennis will present Canelo with a tough challenge. He cautions that it won't fully replicate the unique experience of facing Crawford in the ring. His comments serve as a valuable counterpoint to the widespread praise, reminding observers that while this move may be beneficial, it has its limitations as a simulation of what's to come on fight night.
I think it's good work. Crawford, I don't think Crawford fight. I'm not Crawford. I don't think Boots fight like Crawford at all. that was just some, I think the comparisons they was making initially was just as they both were switch hitters and they both could be so naturally. That's really the only thing that they do the same. They don't do anything else the same, literally. So I never understood the comparison in that myself. But I think it's still a good look because all work is good work and you want the best work. You feel what I'm saying? So if Jaron Ennis is supposed to be the best work, even though he was a 47-pounder and not going up to 54, which is the same thing that Crawford was. I don't know, man. I don't know. But I do think that Boots getting a lot of unnecessary backlash about doing it, though. I don't agree with the backlash he's getting about, you know what I'm saying, going to spar, getting that paycheck, getting that experience. Because I think he needed it anyway. I always talk trash about him. I always stand in Philly, hiding in Philly. He don't ever want to go outside to spar. He don't ever want to go outside to do nothing else. So in this case right here, I think it's well needed for his career. It's needed for the building of a fighter. You know what I'm saying? You got to go out. You got to go in certain different types of territories and, you know, places and get that kind of work. So I mean, I think Boo's getting a lot of unnecessary criticism, and if I'm defending him, you know it's real. You know what I'm saying? So I think he's getting a lot of unnecessary criticism, talking about sellout and all of that. That's some bullshit.
Alao Oladipo offers a sobering reminder of where Canelo Alvarez stands today compared to his prime. He points to the 2018 rematch against Gennady Golovkin as the moment Canelo appeared at his absolute best. That was 7 years ago, Oladipo notes, highlighting that while Canelo has remained among the sports elite, he hasn't quite looked as sharp or untouchable since then. This raises a pressing question: can even the smartest training strategies, like bringing in Jaron Ennis for sparring, truly bridge the gap between Canelo's current form and Terence Crawford's peak momentum? Oladipo's assessment subtly increases the pressure on Canelo's camp, suggesting that their intense sparring sessions may reflect a recognition that the current version of Canelo needs additional reinforcement to meet the challenge Crawford presents.